Hello, YouTube. How y'all doing? I hope everybody's been doing all right. Take care of themselves as usual, as per usual. Anywho, we are gonna discuss the latest pay per view that TNA had, No Surrender. It was on this past Friday. Um, it took me a day or so to watch the whole pay per view. I was rather busy this weekend, so I had to basically fit it in. After I had to move my girlfriend, basically, I was busy doing that for the majority of the weekend, and then recovering from said move. Man, I was it's moving's a young man's game, and I was pretty beat after it. So I literally had to spend like almost an entire day and a half to recover. And I had like I didn't stream over the weekend, and I managed to get this watched. I had to catch up on the product and then watch No Surrender. Actually, it was the other way around. I watched No Surrender because I was having trouble finding feeds that would have the volume working or had good volume that I could like watch and listen, in the background for the like impact up leading up into the show. So like it was really weird. So basically, I had to watch the pay per view first because it was the thing I had access to. But then I filled in the dots and went back and saw some skits and stuff like that. That way, I actually know what the fuck I'm talking about when we discuss TNA tonight. So it was kind of a weird process this week, but it is what it is. And let's kind of talk about pay per view right now. TNA is in a renaissance, if you want to call it that. Sorry, let's make sure you can see my quotes. It's a bit of a renaissance. They got the AMC deal. This is their second pay per view now that they've had now with Impact on AMC. And yeah, it's so far. I guess things are looking up and up for how AMC is taking in TNA. Like they're happy with the product so far, and it looks like everything's mostly positive. Um, but there's TNA is not a perfect company, and we're gonna describe some of that or here in a bit. I'm gonna straight up tell you right now, this I thought was a bit of a dumpster fire of a show. I like compared to Genesis, which I thought was a pretty good show. This really made me scratch my head as to what the fuck they're doing. Like you can't. The problem with TNA is as soon as they gain momentum and start to earn your trust, they ruin your trust. And I don't know why. That's always been a TNA thing. They've done that for years. They've always been able to do that. Where you think they're finally got it, you think they're putting it together, and then you realize, oh no, they decided to shove that piece in the wrong way, and that's even though it's holding together, don't quite look right. All right. So, anyways, let's discuss. I'm using WrestleZone here. Bleacher Report doesn't cover TNA events, unfortunately, from what I can see. So, I'm going to use this as kind of um, an outline, more or less. For those of you who haven't watched my videos before, I just kind of, you know, if I don't remember something, maybe this outline kind of knocks something back into my memory, and I'm like, oh yeah, that mattered. So, first and foremost, I will mention I did not watch the pre-show. So I never really pay attention to the pre-show. So for those of you wanting to know anything about that, well, I got nothing to tell you. So, first of all, let's talk. Um, they start the show off with a Knockouts Battle Royale. And I'm just like, okay, cool. And this was as bare bones of a battle royale as you can get. I mean, granted, nothing could top bare bones rumble matches or battle royale matches compared to like I don't know the 1994 WWE Royal Rumble, but like this was real bare bones for the TNA Knockouts division. Like it was, I didn't even know who half the women were. I shit you not. Like there were either that new or they just haven't been spotlighted on Impact all that much. I didn't even know who they were. But um, it was interesting that they ended up allowing Jody Threat to win the battle royale. And I look at Jody Threat and I'm just like, what is on her face? Like, I don't know what, like, you could, there's obviously some makeup here, but like, I don't know what is on her forehead. It looks like it's almost like a skin graft or like some sort of weird, like, mask, or I don't know what she has on her forehead, whether it's some sort of wax or paste or I don't know. It looked really weird on camera. She just has a really weird look and mildly disturbing. But either way, I was just like, okay, Jody Threat. Cuts a promo later on. Oh my God, awful promo. Like, I don't even know why this woman's even getting airtime. Just awful. There were so many other women that could have um, won a future Knockouts World Championship match that I would have rather seen. And I guess we're going to have to watch Jody Threat. So, the Battle Royale was kind of kind of meh. But apparently these people didn't mind it that much. Um, Apparently they're okay with the Threat. I don't know. Maybe I gotta watch more Threat. Like I said, I've only gotten back into TNA as of recent, and I haven't seen a whole lot of Jody Threat. But my God, she didn't look great. Like in the she just I don't know. I was still I think I was more enamored on what was on her fucking forehead compared to just paying attention to her. But she didn't do anything to mildly impress me, anyways, here at this show. So I'll keep watching. Maybe she'll turn me around, like turn my opinion around. We'll figure it out. But either way, she ended up being the winner after a cute little mix up with Blanchard, Mars Sade, and Elena Black, I think, was part of that mix as well. The newly signed Elena Black, thanks by the suit. Um Anyways, moving on, we have the International Championship. Channing Stacks Lorenzo defends it against Trey Miguel. They've been doing the storyline where um, Stacks is from NXT, and he's been deviously he's been a devious person ever since he's been working TNA. Ariana's been helping him out, and this kind of picked up after even more so after the cage match between the NXT Job Squad and the TNA Originals, which I forgot who won that match. It didn't matter. The end point was Stax is engaged to Ariana Grace, who is the daughter of Santiago Morella. And basically she basically duped her dad and aligned with Stax in being a heel like partnership, and has been treating her dad like crap. Well, the last couple weeks now, she's been kind of being coy, more or less trying to suck up and apologize, being super apologetic to her dad, trying to do the right thing. She's trying to keep Stax from cheating. She's not helping him cheat, that sort of thing. Well, um, here I guess she made a big deal how um she wanted to I mean the her trying to be on her dad's good side's all coy, and we'll go over that more in a bit. But basically she expected Stacks to basically defend against Trey Miguel. Trey Miguel, another story. Basically, after last month's Genesis, the Rascals basically did not resign with TNA, the whole group. They went to AEW, where they all signed deals, technically. Trey Miguel, on the other hand, was basically shown the door. And basically, his contract got null and void by Warner Brothers. And I'm assuming, or apparently, based on what I'm seeing, rumor or what have you, based on stuff I saw online, he posted some stuff that didn't sit well with Warner Brothers a few years back on his socials, and because of that, they decided not to give him a contract. So he could not join the rest of the Rascals, and he came crawling back to TNA. This is what annoys me. TNA is so desperate to have homegrown or more like or talent they feel is, loyal to them. I get it. He came back to them wanting a job after AEW blew him off. But the thing is, they were more than happy to leave. All of them left TNA to get a job at AEW. Like, I don't like the idea of Trey Miguel basically saying, I'm not going to resign with you guys. I'm good. Go to AEW, get shown the door, and then comes back to TNA with his tail tucked between his legs, and they fucking reward him. They reward him by giving him the International Championship, which, by the way, he had an opportunity based on the Feast and Fire match they had a few weeks ago in one of the impacts they had. So Trey Miguel cashes in his Feast and Fire briefcase to go against this title. Lorenzo tries to cheat against Miguel. It was an okay match. There was some miscommunication here and there. Wasn't the best match, but at the end, Trey Miguel ended up getting the win. Ariana Grace is super upset with Stax after this, basically saying he ruined everything. And she wanted to make, like, she basically said, she was willing to break up with him if she doesn't win the Knockouts title, which I'm like, okay, whatever. But it was a whole little cute little promo thing. Either way, I'm flabbergasted at the fact that they gave Trey Miguel a fucking title, rewarding him for choosing TNA because he couldn't be with his boys in AEW. If I was TNA, I'd been like, oh, well, now you want to resign with us? Okay, well, you could job out to everyone. Enjoy. Like, it's like you're an okay single star, but like, and he's not the. In my mind, Trey Miguel is nothing better than X Division, spot fest wrestler. I guess I don't know what kind of intriguing storylines he's gonna have holding this title, but let's just say I'm not too entirely excited. But anyways, we'll move on. So after this match, AJ Francis shows up, comes out. So AJ Francis just recently got out of a feud with an extended feud with I'm trying to think of his name. Oh, why does every time I need names they can't come to Rich Swann, there we go. He just got out of a feud with Rich Swann. They had a no anything goes. They had a street fight or some sort of, it was a street fight. AJ Francis won that match, if I recall. Or did he not? Or was it Rich Swann? Who won that match? I just watched that match too. Rich Swann, AJ Francis street fight. Oh, it was a no holds barred. Yeah, who won this match? I can't remember. Anyways. Okay, yeah, he did win. All right. I had to remember, I couldn't quite remember. For some reason, I kept thinking AJ, like, I remember AJ beating the crap out of him while he had, like, a trash can on Rich Swann, and he pelted this trash can with the chair, like, 20 times. But anyways, Rich Swann beat him in this no-holds-barred match. So AJ Francis making a commentary appearance and basically says he's going to be on commentary the rest of the show. You can imagine my excitement. And I'm not the biggest AJ Francis fan. So he also trashes on Jelly Roll, who is also in attendance. I was actually very surprised, and we will say this right now. I was very surprised Jelly Roll did not do anything in the ring or get involved in any way. He just basically was in the crowd supporting pro wrestling. Just he was just there for the show. He was just having a good time. But so he's hanging out. I'm like, great. He's gonna be on commentary the rest of the fucking show. So they have this Mance Warner versus Mike Jackson. This literally was made on the pre-show as a match. So Mance Warner, just supposed to be a badass dude. Apparently, he takes no prisoners. Whatever you want to call him. This Mike Jackson. He's an old ass motherfucker. He is like Ric Flair old, and he's fucking um, wrestling Mance Warner in a legit match. Honestly, this was probably the one of the more entertaining matches of the night. Unfortunately, um, because I was quite shocked that Mike Jackson was doing action. Mike Jackson, by the way, was actually doing half the shit he was doing, given his age and how he looked. Like I figured this would be a squash job. Mance Warner would just get a pin in a minute. No, Action Mike Jackson was going like, I don't know, several minutes with this guy. And Mance Warner was actually taking offense. Like, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Can we, for a guy who's supposed to come out and just decimate people and, be unruly and just do what he wants, he's getting his ass kicked by a fucking 70-plus-year-old guy. Maybe he's not quite that old, but I mean, he looks it. He looks old. Yeah. Is there? Yeah, look, like it's right here, right here. So you can see right here. This guy is balding. He's old. Like, guy looks like he just got dragged out of the retirement home to come visit TNA. It was awful. But Mance Warner did manage to get his stuff in, get the pin. And afterwards, AJ Francis got into his face because basically AJ was, I guess the whole idea is Francis basically was just like calling him out for not being the man he claims he is, or basically just, it was just a bunch of chest beating affair, more or less. But it's a very weird way to start a feud, being like, man, this ain't the man I knew. And that's all AJ Francis kept saying on commentary is like, man, the Mance Warner I knew would have this match done and like he would squash this fool, that sort of thing. And he just went on and on about that. And then he got in Mance Warner's face. They had a face off, and they started shoving each other, and they had to pull him apart. Security had to pull him apart and stuff. So it was whatever. Sadly, this was the most entertaining match by this point, and it could be, for the most part, for most of the evening, one of the better matches of the night. But yeah, yeah, that was the thing. Francis got into the face of Steph DeLander and claimed that Steph made him soft, and that pissed him off because they're newlyweds. They are married now, so yeah, that was Francis getting in another personal feud now, because I don't know why they really don't want to put the title on him. Which is weird because they need like a strong heel to like go after the champion at the moment, but it's the championship, like the championship picture is kind of congested. We're gonna discuss more about that in a bit, but I just don't understand, like, he's established himself as this guy who's been putting over baby faces. And that's the thing, like, this whole deal was to make Mance Warner babyface, I guess. The fact that Warner was willing to take on the old guy and then had a handshake with the old guy, like, it was a really weird way to make Mance Warner more of a babyface. I think he's been a heel all this time, if I recall. I mean, he was, the last time I saw Mance Warner wrestle was against Matt Cardona before he signed with WWE, in the toy street fight or whatever they did. It was a street fight. I do recall that, but there was like Legos, there was action figures on the ground, there was Maybe there wasn't Legos, but there was action figures. There was doors instead of tables. It was a really weird street fight a couple months back. But either way, I find it a very weird way to try to make Mance Warner face. It's just by having AJ Francis just for some fucking reason have a problem with him. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's a cool way to start a program, guys. This is riveting. All right, next. We get the TNA Knockouts World Championship title match. Elegance brand defending against Indy Hartwell and Zaya Brookside. Well, why is Indy Hartwell teaming with Zaya Brookside instead of Zaya teaming with Ying Lai? Did I say that wrong again? Lei Ying Li. Okay. So yeah, normally, yeah, she would be with Lei Ying Li, but she was not. Because she has to defend her own title. So Indy Hartwell stepped in with Zaya. That all three of them have had issues with the Elegance brand, especially since Ash by Elegance has decided to announce the end of her retirement and get back into the ring as an active wrestler now. What she retired for, we'll never know. Part of me wants to say it was a work, but I'm sure it was not. It could have been anything. Who knows? But as far as I know, it's not been disclosed as to why she retired. At least not to me, anyways. But yeah, this match was all over the place. Just like you could pretty much tell, Indy and Zaya was not winning this title match. The whole Elegance brand is out there. You got Mr. Elegance, who's the like chip off the block, like new like indie talent they brought in, who looks like a Greek god. And then like you have Ash out there. You have the personal concierge getting involved. Like, yeah, it's just basically it was a smash finish. I also noticed in this match that constantly, I think it's Heather's the small one. Em would go for the pin. I think Em's the tall one. Em would go for the pin, and Heather would have to remind her she's not the legal person, push her off, and then and make the pinfall. And this happened more than once in this match. More than once. So I can't tell if that's actually their stick or if like M by Elegance just doesn't really understand when she's legal and not legal. And she forgets. I don't know. It was weird. Like I said, it was a little bit all over the place. But yeah. The champions retained. After the match, Mickie James, since they're in where Mickie James because I think this is in Nashville, Tennessee for the event. So Mickie James calls Nashville, Tennessee her home. She comes out and helps run off the Elegance brand. Yeah. So yay, Mickie James. I know she's a great legend in TNA, but it's just again, Mickie James doesn't really excite me. I think the problem is she's constantly put herself in a position where she just feels like she has more merit in TNA than she does in WWE, but I just feel like Mickie James is one of those people they're willing to bring in and use until they can find someone better, and then they just hurry up and tell her to skedaddle, and they use whatever they bring in that they feel is better. So every time I see Mickie James, I'm like, oh, that's the best they could do. You know, whether it's WWE, TNA, whatever. Like, it's just, I just can't. I should give Mickie James more respect, but for some reason, she just doesn't do. She doesn't garner my full respect, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, for some reason, she just doesn't grab at me as a legend, like the legendary status she has. At least I'll say this: she has way more legendary status than say a Michelle McCool, who likes to ride on the Undertaker's coattails all the time. And I would honestly rather see Mickey James any day of the week than say Stephanie McMahon gracing our presence through Saturday Night Main Event and other pay per view shows like repeatedly throughout a night, you know? So, again, but for TNA, she's probably one of the better options that they had, anyways. And it's just like, oh, yay, Mickey James. Great. Are we going to see her wrestle? Who knows? Maybe it's just a one off. I don't know. So far, we are 4 matches in, and this pay per view's kind of sucked. So let's move on. Yeah, the people who watched the show were kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt. So we had BDE versus Eric Young. So for those of you who haven't been following TNA, BDE is TNA's version of Logan Paul. Except he's an aspiring wrestler, a YouTube personality as an aspiring wrestler, as opposed to Logan Paul, who came in as a celebrity, realized he was actually pretty damn good at pro wrestling, and then signed full time. BDE is more or less in full time with TNA, and TNA immediately latched onto him like white on rice. When obviously the Logan Paul thing's working for WWE, so TNA's like, well, we got this guy. I didn't know who the fuck this guy was until I started watching TNA again. So I guess Eric Young. So Eric Young's shtick in the last like many years, I don't know. He's been doing it for a while. I'm exaggerating, but his shtick lately in the last several months to a year, however long, has been that he's all about the cleanse. He wants to cleanse TNA. And no one has any idea what the fuck that fucking means. But he keeps trying to align and get people to join up to help him with the cleanse. And he's been trying to recruit BDE as a latest victim, basically. BDE refusing to follow Eric Young, and Eric Young is taking personal umbrage with it. So he's been attacking BDE. They have the match here. Um, But yeah, they go back and forth a little bit. It's not a bad match. But Eric Young gets the win with a pile driver. Um, um, I just again, it's kind of hard to get invested with Eric Young's like cleanse because I feel like it's a storyline that just sits around in the back that they kick around in the back, and they're just kind of like, well, we have this thing that we've just been kind of on it, passing off to whoever or whatever, just to fill in a little bit of time here and there that we need, if we need to fill in time for Impact or, to get to month, we got this recurring or just like outstanding storyline with Eric Young. And instead of just telling Eric Young, hey, we don't really want to do this, they respect Eric Young too much, I think, to tell him, hey, we really don't want to do this shit. They just say, hey, you know what? We need a match to fill the card. Work with BDE. We got nothing for him right now. Go do your cleanse thing. That's what the cleanse feels like to me. It just feels like a filler. They're not gonna actually. There's gonna be no payoff with this cleanse storyline until they find something better to do with Eric Young, or until Eric Young just feels like dropping it all together. But he's got this weird like got this like out there gimmick. I forget what the actual name of it is. Um Eric Young's current gimmick. He is, and they don't actually say what his name is. Trying to see what he calls himself. He has a name. Even Wikipedia doesn't tell me what I need to know. Terrible. I always just use cage match. Why do I use world class maniac? That's what he is. I was like trying to figure. I just couldn't remember. I knew it was like kind of a tongue in cheek like maniac like moniker, but yeah, he's a world class maniac. What does that even mean? Like again, just anything Eric Young is doing right now just doesn't matter, makes no sense, and no one cares. Which makes any match you see of his not matter. So we move on. Finally, a match I was looking forward to. Li Yingli defending her title against Ariana Grace. I really have been enjoying Li Yingli since I've been watching TNA again. Thank God that she's a fun, deserving champion. But I was really hoping that we would see Ariana Grace just crash out after Yingling would or Yingling. I get so tongue tied trying to say her fucking name. Lei Yingli. I was hoping she would get the win and watch Ariana Grace crash out. We did not get that. No, no, we didn't get that. The one thing I'm looking forward to and I want to enjoy out of this event, I could not enjoy. No, no, they fucking give this to Ariana Grace. Um, it was not the worst match in the world. It was definitely enjoyable. It was one of the better matches of the night, of course. Um, Stacks was obviously trying to be distracting here and there. Um, Lee takes out Stacks at some point, which was a pretty good spot. I know it's eventually Grace. This was another thing that annoyed me, and I wanted to make sure this happened. I wanted to mention this. Midway through the match, while Lee had the offense, Danny Luna comes out and basically gets a bunch of security surrounding her and trying to push her to the back. Now, what was the point? What was the point? Like, Danny Luna, I know, was supposed to have a title match last month before all the visa issues came up and she was unavailable for the show. I get that. She didn't come back until now, just like Leon Slayer wasn't coming back until as well. Leon Slayer was also the other victim of that. That's high on their card, and we'll get to that more in a moment. But it was just like, what was the point in having her come out and not getting even remotely interfering in the match? Basically, the whole point of her coming out was to one, remind the TNA, the people watching TNA, that she exists because she hasn't been on Impact since AMC started on Impact, or Impact started on AMC. Sorry, so she hasn't been on the show. So they wanted to make sure they wanted to at least show that she matters and she's out there and causing some chaos, I guess. And then two, it paid as a distraction for Ariana Grace to be able to turn the tables on Lee. So, like I said, the match still continued to be a bit more back and forth and like I said, it would have been a pretty enjoyable match with the like I said, it was a little. I just thought that spot with Luna was just not good. Like they could have had her come out after the fact and destroyed Lee. They could have had her come out right at the start of the match and like try to go after Lee, and then Grace takes advantage of it with Lee willing to fight after that. Like there's so many better ways they could have booked that spot, and instead it just makes TNA management just look dumb, and it just makes the storytelling and just like the booking very questionable, just dumb. Could have done anything else. But that was what they did. Either way, Ariana Grace, earlier in the show, during a skit with her father, stole. I don't know if it was if it was earlier in the show or maybe it was like the week before. Maybe it was the week before. But yeah, she had discussions with her father and basically stole the his Cobra sock that he uses that Santino Morel is known for. She stole the Cobra. Well, at the end of the match, she puts on the Cobra and ends up hitting Lee with it. She does her finisher, gets the win. She is the new Knockouts champion at the chagrin of her father. And it made me very upset because I still want Lee to hold on to the title. Ariana Grace does not need the title to be entertaining in the slightest. I feel Lee needed more time with this title to be a more relevant contender on the upper part of the card. Now I feel like Lee is just going to get shuffled back either into the tag team ranks or just an afterthought. Because there are other women they're looking to push. Marasade, um, Elena Black, Tessa Blanchard, a few others. I just feel like Lei Yingli is not going to get, and they might do a return match in Impact here in a few weeks. She'll probably get screwed over on that one. I'm also a little annoyed that with I was so. And this was my other thing. You had Danny Luna come out and interfere in this match. Why would you bother with this if you were going to have Ariana Grace win the title anyways? Ariana Grace is full on heel. Danny Luna's a heel. Why in the hell would you continue this route? Like, the booking makes no sense. It's like, now is she just gonna. Danny Luna's been hungry for the title. And it makes sense if she's been able to, be able to take on a face champion. You had it on a face champion. Now you don't. Sorry, my throat's a little dry. So at this point, I don't know what they're going to do with Danny Luna. I really don't. Unless she just feels like destroying a former champion to help raise her stock. Maybe that's what they do. I don't know. Either way, I thought the match was fine. Pretty enjoyable. Just weird booking decisions. Let's move on. They show BDE kind of, bummed out after his match with Eric Young. Rich Swann basically talks to him, cheers him up. I think we're gonna have some collaboration with Rich Swann and BDE, which would be kind of cool. I'm down with that. Uncle Richie Swann. Yeah. All right, so we had a highlight match here. We had the Righteous teaming with the Hardys versus Order 4. The Righteous has basically been explaining their actions, trying to convince the Hardys that they just want to be with them. And when I say be with them, I think they're looking for some sort of united faction or some sort of I don't know. They want to be partners. They don't want to go against each other. They don't want to be they want to be friends. They just want to be with the Hardys. They don't want to go against the Hardys. So that's kind of their thing, and the whole match was them trying to trust each other and seeing if, they could work together. Order 4, basically Mustafa Ali just can't stand, the Hardys. The Hardys have the titles, of course, so it would be good for Order 4 to get a chance at the titles in the future if they can get a win here. Mustafa Ali also has to worry about a future match against Elijah. Who apparently this upcoming Impact they're gonna have a guitar case casket match. Couldn't just have a casket match. They should have just said a guitar case match. And I think that would have sold better than a casket match. But having a casket made to look like a guitar case is, I don't know. It's a whole mouthful. A guitar case casket match. It's like, just say a guitar case match. And then when people see it, it's like, oh, casket match. It just, it'll explain itself when people see it. Or they could have just called it that for a while now. And then Elijah, he did show off the casket, by the way, after this match happened. But either way, it's just sometimes I don't know why TNA likes to really make things more convoluted than they have to be sometimes with their booking and just the creative. Either way, this match Was just basically all four of the Righteous and the Hardys doing their hits. The Order 4 basically being the full, basically being in the position where they take a lot of that offense, but there's I think there was like a miscommunication, or I think it was if I recall, Dutch got dust in his eyes or sand in his eyes by the female who is with Order 4. Tasha Steeles or whatever. I think that's her name. I can't remember. But she threw the dust at a Dutch. He was blinded, accidentally does a finisher to Matt Hardy, which Ali takes advantage of, gets the 450 and wins. Um, but yeah, the guitar case reveal. Elijah impersonator brought out the guitar, and fucking Ali goes after him, tries to beat the shit out of it, but Elijah comes out of the guitar case himself and chases off Ali. It was very weird. It's just like, why would you be in the guitar case? I don't know. It was weird. Again, TNA. They apparently liked it enough. Gave it an A+. I thought it was fine. It was a fine match. It just I've seen better matches, but I mean, if you love the Hardys, you love a collaboration with the Righteous, and like I said, it wasn't a bad match. It's just it was a match that didn't feel like it meant much. It was more storyline driven than anything between the Righteous and the Hardys. So like, it didn't really like. I didn't really necessarily care. Um, Morella goes after his daughter, trying to get a hold of her. Daria Ray comes out of the locker room instead and basically tells Santino, who's really an authority, and he needs to mind his place. He needs to learn how to like chill his shit, basically. And yeah, basically, Daria Ray has been a constant figure ever since she's been introduced a month ago, and honestly, I think it's a fun little foil with TNA, and given how they like to overbook everything, why not add to the overbooking by having two GMs at each other's throats? So, whatever. But no, I haven't hated Daria Ray being there. It's been entertaining to say the least. So, it is what it is. But yeah, um, she's there to make Santino's life miserable, and that she's been doing. All right. So before we discuss this next match here, let me explain to you what the premise of the No Surrender main event is, okay? This was a mouthful, and I literally had to like rewind the fucking show to hear what to think of what I heard and hear it correctly. And I was just like, you're kidding me, right? No, this was it. Okay, so let me discuss this. All right. First of all, I want to get something clear. So you have Mike Santana is the heavyweight champion. All right. He's got a team with Leon Slayer, who's the X Division champ, against Nick Nemeth and Eddie Edwards. Nick Nemeth has the Call Your Shot trophy to basically get a shot at the world title when and so he chooses. Eddie Edwards recently just won a Feast of Fire match opportunity to get a world title shot. He could turn that in in a win. You have Leon Slater, who is the X Division champ, and they felt the need to mention option C, which in TNA, option C is for anyone who is the X Division champion, they can forfeit the title to get a shot at the world title. So that's option C. So basically, they are hyping this up as Mike Santana in a triple jeopardy match, basically. And that if any one of these three men would do what they need to do to basically declare for a title match, the tag match would get thrown away, and then they will have, and Mike Santana will defend his title against whoever decides to declare for the shot, to turn in their shot for the title. Well, that never happened. The match, the tag match gets started with some back and forth action. I do want to note there was quite a few things crazy that happened throughout this match. So for one, in mid match, okay, mid match. And this is, I was waiting for, since this stipulation had so many rules to it, like there's so much going on. I was waiting for one of them to call their shot like mid match or the tag match end, and then they call their shot or something. I was waiting for any of these things to happen. None of that happened. We got none of that. This whole preordained, this whole mirage that they basically present us with all these predicaments and all these scenarios never came to fruition. What came to fruition, might you ask? Let me tell you. It was, so first of all, mid-match, Steve Maclin comes out and goes after Mike Santana. Why is Steve Maclin going after Mike Santana? Well, in the Feast and Fired match, guess who got fired? Maclin. Maclin has been basically being a nuisance since he's been fired and showing up, and basically did not like Santana. I think he felt Santana patronized him when he was going and visiting friends the week after he got fired and being friendly and saying goodbye to people and whatnot. And he felt, him and Santana were supposed to be tight, but I think he felt Santana patronized him when Santana, talked to him, and didn't like how Santana approached it. So he's been kind of going after Santana with his feelings on his sleeve, and not too thrilled with Mike Santana's attitude, which it is what it is. If that's how they want to go with that, that's cool. Because it does give Maclin something to do, but I was just very okay. So Maclin comes out, and I'm waiting on Santana to get back in the match at some point. Santana never comes back. Okay, Mike Santana never comes back to this match. So this whole triple jeopardy match that they booked and that they basically set up for you and had to over-explain what is going on goes out the window. Just all goes out the fucking window. Typical TNA booking. So none of that matters now. Leon Slayer's there by himself, and he's wrestling Eddie Edwards and Nick Nemeth. Why do they care to beat up Leon Slayer? They're not turning in their shit to take on Leon Slayer. So they start wrestling Leon, taking advantage of the 2-on-1 situation soon. And not long after, Moose comes out. Moose kicked out of the system recently. Yeah, the system's had a change of personnel ever since Genesis. JDC retired recently, so he opened up a spot for Bear Bronson to basically come in as a yeah, I'm trying to see if I think it's Bear Bronson. But yeah, yeah, I think that's the name. Bear Bronson is a new member of the stable. And then they jump JDC. And then Moose is like, what the hell's going on? And they jump Moose. And they kick Moose out of the stable, and they add Cedric Alexander, who's been kind of having a rivalry. He's been having a rivalry with Cedric Alexander as of late, more friendly than anything, but Now it's not so friendly, it's more personal because Cedric is his replacement and helped the rest of the system beat the shit out of him. And so that's the lineup of the system. Also, Eddie's wife has left the system as well. She is not interested in the new direction and was not told of anything going on. And she doesn't understand why her husband's doing what they're doing. And she's taking a mental health break. In my opinion, I think her contract's running up and I don't know if she's resigning. So there's that. Um, so there the system's in this whole heel direction now, and they've been around the ring during this whole match. And now Moose comes out, beats up the system fellas. He beats up Edwards, and he basically chases Eddie Edwards into the back. So Santana's gone. Eddie Edwards is gone. We have Leon Slater and Nick Nemeth. Basically, they go back and forth a little more, and then Slater gets a win, Swanton 450, and gets a pin on Nick Nemeth. And they close the show with Leon Slater, tall, riding high, tall on the turnbuckle with the win. What a fucking shit show! Like, what kind of fucking booking was this? This was awful. By any stretch of the imagination, this was not good booking. Like, what the fuck? Like, if you wanted to highlight Leon Slater because he's been off TV and he's been gone for the last several weeks because of his visa issues, you could have done anything else. Like, yes, he's the one that came out on top in this match, and yeah, people ate it up. But yeah, they ate it up because a fan favorite won the match. But none of the booking made any sense at all. Nothing made sense at all. This was worse than like most of the shit I've seen in WCW back in their day. Like the constant run-ins, the smudge, the change in match stipulation, and like the shit that mattered just didn't matter anymore. Like it was hard to like. I couldn't personally be invested anymore once Santana left. Like, the whole point of this match was for Santana to deal with these three people who are contenders for for his title, and he's gone. Like, I just did not understand what they were trying to accomplish with this other than making Leon Slater look good at the end of the show. And they could have done that through just a singles match on his own or a title defense or anything. They could have done anything else. That would have made more sense. Maybe. It's TNA. They don't know how to make anything make any sense. I was just so flabbergasted by what I just witnessed in the last like 20 minutes, 25 minutes of that show. And I was just like, this pay-per-view sucked. It absolutely sucked. Whoever this is Anthony Nash, well, he must really enjoy terrible booking. Because he thinks this was a very enjoyable pay-per-view. No. Genesis was a very enjoyable pay-per-view. This pales in comparison to Genesis. Pales in comparison to most of the better shit TNA's put out ever in years. Like, this was not a good, well-booked show. Like, seriously, the only thing that was fine was the Grace and Lee match and the Hardy Righteous Connection versus Order 4. Those were the only two matches I felt were even worth anyone's time on this card. And yeah, just the rest of the card you could just skip and not even bother watching. Like, this was not worth anyone's time. I feel bad for anyone who spent any money on this card whatsoever. I mean, I'm happy TNA exists, and I'm happy they are on AMC. I'm happy the product's growing and they're, able to get exposure out there. They got actually they got a very good unit of roster, a good group of people on the roster to do stuff with, and to be able to get a good product, on a weekly and a pay-per-view basis. But this is not how you do it. Like this, whoever decided on a lot of the booking here, no, no, no. This is not how you do it. And I'm going to explain here another thing on their booking. I feel like that they're not like trying to book much into the pay-per-view. It's like the pay-per-view comes up and they're like, "Oh my god, what do we do?" That's how their booking comes across to me. It does not feel like they are planning at all for the coming month or the next few months. Like I feel like the pay-per-view creeps up on them and they're like, "Okay, we need to book this card. What do we do? Let's call it something." I don't feel like they're booking for the future at all. It's just it feels too hodgepodge. There's so many different good matches they had on Impact that they could have saved for this pay-per-view. Rich Swann and AJ Francis's no holds barred match. That was a good match. I went back and watched it. That was an awesome match. That could have been on the card. The Mara Sade, Nick Nemeth, or not Nick Nemeth, what's his brother's name? Ryan Nemeth. Him and Mara Sade has been having this weird ass feud, and it's been kind of entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, it's been entertaining. They blew it off with a Albuquerque street fight, and Mara Sade got the win there. That was on a different episode of Impact. That could have been on the card, instead of a random episode of Impact. What else was there? They're like next week, this upcoming Impact, they're gonna have Order 4, Mustafa Ali go against Elijah in the guitar case casket match. That could have been on the fucking card. You have 3 main event matches within the last that could have been on this card instead of what they did for this card. They haven't figured out when they want to turn in or when they want people to cash in their shit for their trophy, their trophies or whatever. So they're just kind of like, I don't know. Let's just have a Jeopardy style match where anything could go and anybody could call in their shot, and such convoluted rules. And there's so many times TNA opens their show with a random battle royale, whether it's for a men's title or a women's title. I see it way too often because they have no way. They don't fucking book anything in advance, and they just come up with shit for. Well, fuck, who won this women's battle royale? It was Jody Threat. I guarantee you, Jody Threat goes after the title in a random episode of Impact. Not even for the next pay-per-view. It'll be a random episode of Impact. Could be next week for all I know. But I guarantee it'll happen. It won't be for the fucking pay-per-view. Their booking has been so atrocious. Like, don't get me wrong. Some feuds have overstayed their welcome. Some feuds just haven't been highlighted in the right light. And they just, I don't know, it's like they have a really hard time booking a solid card. If I'm going to pay good money to see a pay-per-view, I want to see a rock solid card with stuff that I am invested in that I want to see. Not, well, I guess you're going to get BDE versus Eric Young because Eric Young decided to have a problem with them the last week or two. And I guess you're going to get a random Battle Royale, and I guess you're going to get Action Mark Jackson. Is that what his name was? Yeah. Mike Jackson. Action Mike Jackson go against Mance Warner because we just made that show on the spot on the pre-show. Like, just awful. Like, you had the women's knockouts, and this is my other thing. Where's all the TNA talent, or not TNA, NXT talent? Stacks, and the only NXT talent that has been remotely used, or that is being consistently used right now, is Stacks. and Ariana Grace. Where's the rest of them? It's like they quit caring after the cage match several weeks ago. Where's all the other NXT talent that's supposed to be over here? I know we had Soruka and Zarya a couple weeks ago. Like, yeah, like like I don't know, 4 weeks ago or whatever. But yeah, we're not really seeing much NXT anymore. And I'm wondering if that's an AMC influence thing or if they're just kind of cooling off for a bit or whatever, what have you. But I just feel like that yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot of NXT as much as I'd seen the last several months. And I don't know, like I said, I'm just curious if that is a trend that's going to continue in the future, or if they're going to start adding more NXT stars to the mix down the road. Just I'm not 100% sure. It's weird. Um, but it goes both ways. We're not seeing a whole lot of TNA and NXT right now either. So I don't know. Maybe they're just having a cooling period. Maybe it's an AMC thing, which would be weird because WWE helped them get the AMC spot. So you would just think that it's a win-win for WWE, but I don't know. I really don't know. But either way, they really need to figure out how to home in on the booking. Like for the stuff that matters, put that on okay. So yes, I get it. You want to at least have something good for your episodes of Impact that draw people in to watch it. It's like, oh, well, we'll put this street fight on a episode of Impact, then we'll do this other um relevant match on Impact to try to get the viewers to watch, what have you. And that's fine every once in a while, but when you don't have anything when you do that and then you go to your pay-per-view card and it's bare bones booking because you blew all your good hot feuds on Impact instead of the pay-per-view, nobody's gonna buy your fucking pay-per-view. Yeah, just it's I don't know. Like I said, I want good things for TNA. I'm looking forward to watching more of it. I'm hoping that maybe they have a better month this next month, but yeah. This was garbage. Um and I hope the next pay-per-view, which I don't know what their next pay-per-view is. TNA pay-per-view schedule. Can I see what? All right, Rebellion's in no, it's Sacrifice. Sacrifice at the end of March. So, I'm hoping Sacrifice will be something more interesting than what No Surrender was. Maybe they get some feuds to kind of coalesce and basically either deliver or have a turning point at Sacrifice. Whatever pay-per-views are supposed to do, you know. Um, that's what I'm hoping. I'm just hoping for a better built card than what I literally had to sit through here. So, that's really all I have to say about TNA at the moment. I'm gonna look forward to. I'm gonna try to catch up on AEW. They just had their Grand Slam set of shows over in Australia. Some big shit happened there. I'm gonna try to catch up and maybe do an AEW video here in the coming future. So I know they got a Revolution pay-per-view coming up. When is the AEW Revolution? All right, mid-March. So they got here in a couple weeks, mid-March, they're gonna have their next pay-per-view. So I might do a small catch-up AEW vid, going over some stuff and kind of seeing what they're doing. MJF is the current champ right now, and I want to see what they've been, how well he's been carrying the company as their champ, and seeing what they're looking towards and doing for Revolution. WWE, I know I'm I'm looking forward to some Elimination Chamber, and we'll be discussing that once the Elimination Chamber happens. I also had a Royal Rumble vid for those of you who are curious about my thoughts on the Royal Rumble, um, and Unreal, because I watched season 2 of Unreal. Um, there's a video for that also on the page, so feel free to check that out if you're curious what I had to say about that. But thanks again, guys, for watching this stuff. I do enjoy talking wrestling, and yeah, feel free to let people know that this is out there. Let spread the word. People want to know. I have fun opinions, so honestly, I thank every one of you that guys that care to listen to what I have to say. So take it easy, guys. Have a good one, and yeah, enjoy pro wrestling. It's as good as it's gonna get right now. So.